everybody, it's Jade. I had a question from the YouTube channel KJ's World. She's interested in improving her journaling and wanted to know about what markers and paint markers and things that I use in my journals that don't like bleed through. So I thought I'd do a quick video on the different materials and pens and things like that that I use in my journal. This is the one I'm working in this year. You've seen these pages here. And I'm, in March now, and I'll do a March flip once I'm done. So I will show you, and even the journals that I showed you before, I'll show you the things that I've used in them before that I like very much. First of all, I definitely use pencils. I honestly have no certain preference on what kind of pencils I use, as long as it's a pencil. So I have these mechanical pencils here. I have these. I got these from the Dollar Tree. I actually just bought some more professional type pencils that were on clearance at Hobby Lobby. I haven't used them yet, but anyway. So because I usually outline my titles first in pencil, or if I'm drawing a doodle or something, I'll do it in pencil first, and then I'll outline it in a waterproof pen. Now my favorite waterproof pens that I end up outlining in are either these black Sharpies that you can get these at Walmart, Target, and they have a fine tip point. And there's different points too. There's like a 0.5, I think, and or is it 0.05, and then a 0.07 or something. So I get those. I also have these in different colors, these Sharpie markers. So I have purple, there's blue, yada yada yada. These fine point ones, these really fine point ones. And also what I like to outline in are my microns. I bought a pack of microns a while ago, a long time ago, probably from Michael's or somewhere like that. And of course I used a coupon because microns can be expensive, but I like these because they have all different point sizes. I usually like to outline in a thicker point, so either the 0.5 or the 0.8 if I'm using my microns. Now I also use, excuse me guys, I also use the microns for basically writing as well. So when I'm writing something in my journal, writing the words, I usually use the microns. I also like to use, if I want some color, these Papermate flares. And I have a whole, I think it's a 20 or 24 pack or something like that that I got from Sam's. It was a while ago. I don't know if they still have them. But it was maybe $12, $13 at the time that I bought them. They may be more now if they even still have them. But so yeah, I do use the Papermate flare sometimes when I want color for my writing. And actually sometimes I use them to color stuff in, like in my Fauxbonichi flip that you guys saw, when I did the monthly spreads and I would write the June, July, whatever. I usually color them in with these Papermate flares. So, and I've never had an issue with these bleeding through paper or the microns or those Sharpies. Now I also would sometimes use these fine tip Sharpie markers. Hold on, let me pull one out. I got a whole pack of these as well. It's like a 24, 26 pack, something like that. The tips of these are much finer than a regular Sharpie, and I have a whole pack of those as well. I don't use these very often in my journals because they do bleed through. And these can bleed through depending on how, it really depends on the thickness of your paper and how hard you're pressing when using it. So if I do use these to write with, see the fine tip there. To write within my journal, I try to press very lightly, because there's some great colors in these packs as well that's, you know, not the same as the Paper Mate Flares or whatever. So if I do use them to write, I do try to write very lightly, because these Sharpie markers will bleed through. Again, depending on your paper. With that Miguel Ruiz notebook, I had to glue 2 sheets together to prevent a lot of bleed through and ghosting and things like that. This journal that I'm in now is I made a mistake and I said 70 weight paper, but it's actually 74 weight paper. And the only thing so far that I've had a problem with it bleeding through was when I used my Copics in it. I do have some Copic markers, and I love them, but they do bleed through the paper I'm using now. So I would, before using Copics to color in your journals, I would test it out first to see if it's gonna bleed through, like a test sheet of paper in your journal. Whatever other things that I like to use are these watercolor pencils. I got these from Derwent. Well, I got them from Amazon actually, but they're Derwent watercolors. And it's just a 36 pack with a few different shades or whatever. So I do like to use these in my journal for some watercoloring sometimes. Generally, when I had those bookshelves that you saw in my flip, if you watched it, I would color them in with these. And of course I use them for other, you know, things in my journal to color in watercolor or whatever. But these were mainly used for my bookshelves as well. Next, as far as let you guys know that I love to color in my titles with paint markers. My favorite paint markers are these Sharpie paint pens. They're water based, and you just shake them up and press them to get the ink to come out. And I like them because they're fine tipped, so it's easy to color in, and you don't have to, you know, generally worry about going over the lines or anything. There are more colors. Let's see if I can find all. There's like 5 colors here for these Sharpies. Of course, I can't find my favorite one right now. Anyway, here's the other ones. And the last one is a purple one. It's like a light purple. It's really pretty. I also love to use these Jelly Roll pens to color in, because they work just like paint markers. They're supposedly gel pens, but the stuff comes out just like paint. So I use these to color in my titles as well. These Jelly Roll pens. I have all different kinds. I have these little sparkly ones. This is from like the Moonlight pack, I think. So yeah, and then of course I showed you guys I just bought these Jane Davenport ones. So far I've used, I think this one, and it did not bleed through my journal. And this is one of the darker colors in the pack. I have these. I will use these to paint things in as well. Haven't had an issue with those. Oh, here's the last Sharpie one, the purple one I was telling you about. These, I picked up several different colors of these type paint markers. And I got these from Tuesday Morning when they had them on sale for like 99 cents or $1.99. I think it was 99. I can't remember. Anyway, I like the different colors. The only thing is with these, they are sometimes hard to get the paint to even come out. And then once it does come out, they kind of gush. So you have to be kind of careful using those. And I definitely re-outline after this, because sometimes you have to, you know, kind of get it to form back into the letter by outlining. And here are some of those other colored fine tip Sharpies I was talking about. So that is, actually that's not it. Another brand of paint markers I love to use, some of my favorites actually, are the Posca markers. And I have a set of thicker ones as well. Sometimes I use those just on their own to write titles. But these I like to use the color in because the tips are a little finer. And I love these Posca markers. They're some of my favorite paint pens. So you can see the tip is not as thick as the big box of the Posca markers here. So which makes coloring in the titles and things a whole lot easier than they would be otherwise. Here's another pack of Jelly Roll pens that I use. And let's see, a few other things. I have used these Recollections watercolor gels. The only thing with these is I actually haven't tried out, and I need to, the best pen to use to write over if I use these in my journal. But they're watercolor crayons. You know, color in something and then use watercolor and spread it around. But it gives this glittery kind of glossy film type over it. So I need to find the best thing to, the best pen to use when trying to write something over it. I do use my Tombow markers sometimes to color things in. I haven't had an issue with these bleeding through, but you can see a little bit of ghosting sometimes. But no like actual bleed through. Again, a lot of this will depend on the type of paper you're using. Well, I don't want to say lastly quite yet, but I do love to use my travel watercolor sets. I haven't opened these two yet. I will soon, but these are the ones I have been using. These are the Prima watercolor confections, and in tropicals and classics. And I think I've showed you guys these before, but I haven't even filled out the thing yet, but I do use them. And I love the colors in here. They're nice and bright and pretty, and they're fun to use, fun to watercolor with. But so far I have not had an issue with these bleeding through my paper either. So I do like to pull these out and use them. Matter of fact, I'm going to keep them out because I'm about to use them. There, and let me see if there's anything else I can think of before I sign off here. Stamps. Sometimes I like to use stamps. I do use this stamp the most to stamp the date into my journal, whatever. And I just use this. I use the black one of these type of inks to stamp with. And one tip I wanted to give you guys while I'm here is this. I was watching, I think her channel is Moonlight Cabin, and you should check her out if you like to see process journals, like Journal with Me's and flips and things like that. Her journal is beautiful. And I just found out about kneadable erasers. Had no clues. An eraser is kind of like putty almost, as you can see. But when you use it to erase something, it doesn't leave those stupid little eraser crumbs that you're having to knock away and get your desk all messy or wherever you're working or whatever. It's just, there's no residue. You can erase whatever you need to erase, and there's nothing left behind. So I found a 2-pack of these at Hobby Lobby when I was there looking through all the clearance stuff, and I think it was $2.99, and I used a 40% off coupon, so it ended up being, you know, cheap. $2.99 is really not that bad. Anyway, but I've seen them at Michael's. They probably have it at AC Moore and Joann as well. So just a little tip that I picked up recently myself. I have never heard of a kneadable eraser before. Never. So yeah, it has definitely come in handy. Oh, and I also use watercolor brushes. I have different ones. This just happens to be a Jane Davenport one that I picked up that was on sale or clearance a while ago. So that is pretty much it, guys, for the materials that I like to use in my journal on a regular basis. No, I don't use everything all at once. You know, I mix stuff up. One time, you know, one page I'm using something here, the next page something there, whatever. But anyways, that's enough of my rambling. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and leave them below, and I will get back to you as soon as I'm able. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.